Hey, how are we doing? I got asked yesterday if I'd just do a little piece about how I sort through the grades when I get the willow delivered. So I've just gone through them all, picked out the first part of the grading that I go through, and they were just asking really how I look through the rough sawn clefts and sort out what is what, basically, and how I get them to the stages that where I pick them for certain grades. Well, what happens is they arrive and I order 3 different sorts really, mainly. So I get my top end, which are grade 1s with specials in. So specials are players, or limited editions as some companies call them, but basically players grade. So they come in with the grade 1s, and then I have, on top of those, I have grade 2s. I don't do grade 3s because I do butterfly, because the butterflies are far superior to grade 3s in my opinion. So when you buy a willow, you have to buy the majority of your stock in low grade willow. So probably roughly 3/4, maybe a little bit more, it works out at, that has got to be low grade or lower end willow. So they class butterfly, even though it's beautiful, they class butterfly as low grade willow because of the stain. So on top of that, what I do for junior bats is have what they call handmade boys clefts, which are basically clefts that have got chunks missing out of them, or maybe a bit thinner, a bit narrow, a bit shallower in spine height, but they might be really nice pieces of willow, but they've just got damage to them. So you make those, that's the skill of your bat maker, to make them into junior bats of varying sizes. And they could look like players, grade 1s, you know, majority of the time. The worst that they tend to look is a grade 2, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. So what I look for is, as we go through the grades, and it's pretty easy to sort of roughly spot, and whether it'll show up on camera quite so well, I don't know. But so first of all, what we'll look at is, so sort of a grade 1 and the specials. This is what that's how they arrive. Okay, so you can see it's quite good in the light there. That will be beautiful. Okay, so that's how a grade 1 would look. And then out of that process, we win some and we lose some. Some of us will get some top end that have got faults. So for example, here's one that I've got. So you come to clean it up, and I'll show you the good bit first. So you come to clean it up, and it's beautiful. Got lovely grains, but it's actually got a big split in it. So that's arrived as a top end piece of willow, but found that as we're cleaning it up. So that will have to be used as perhaps a junior cleft, cut down to a sort of size 4 or something like that, or even just made up into a fielding bat, just to make use of it. So you win some, you lose some. So that will be cleaned up and then pressed and handled, and then from there you go through and pick out what you deem as the specials. Okay, they arrive as special. You get so many specials in an order, but what it's like, its beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So for me, when I select through, it's what just looks beautiful as well as performing beautifully. So it's in my eye as a player, you know, as a bat maker. I'll pick those out, what I feel, what I deem deserve to be in there. So that's how your sort of grade 1s would look when they arrive. So obviously as you go down the grades, that's sort of a standard grade 2, so you can see the difference, just not so many grains, a little bit wavier, just a little bit more colour in the bottom there. Okay, if you're wondering what these waxed ends are, we wax them to stop them splitting in the drying process, splitting lengthways. Okay, so you can see the difference between the 1 and the 2. So we move on from that to a butterfly. Okay, so you can see beautiful grains in there, as good as anything else, but we've got the stain here. There's one stain, another one, little one there, and one at that end. Okay, that's the butterfly. So this is what you get for junior bats. Okay, so you think, well, that looks like a good cleft. Yeah, it's got sort of nice sort of grade 2-ish grains on. Turn it over, look, got half the back missing. So the skill then is to make that up into a junior bat and choosing it for the right size bat. Okay, we don't get hold of these that often. They're quite hard to get hold of because the Asian market tends to snaffle them all up. So on top of that, what I do when I get them, I then weigh them, count the grains, and write it on the end of there. So this one, in its current weight, is 4.7. It's got 15 grains on it. Sorry, 12 grains on it. Okay. So that gives me an idea when it's in the rack what sort of weight range I can make that into. So yeah, that's quite a nice light one. You'll get some that weigh £5 and a bit more. So it's then judging, knowing how much you take out of each, or you can take out of each one, for each profile that you make as well. So there's differences. So that's basically the first part of the grading. And then, as I said, earlier, is then when they're handled and pressed again to the final pressing, and they get the ping, and they might clean up beautifully, and some of the marks will come out as the faces are cleaned up. They can, perhaps something that you thought wouldn't be quite as good will come out, a real top end piece of willow, and vice versa. So you take the rough with the smooth with it, really. At the end of the day, it's a natural product. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense and enlightens you as to what we do. So just go through that. So there's your wands. Try and get those grains showing up again. There's your wands. And that's a 2. Pick up a bit better that way here. That's a 2. And then a 3 would have more marks in it, little knots. And you go down the scale. Okay? So there we go. Hope that makes sense.